Hi, this is Karen Thaxton with marketingwords.com and copywritingcourse.com. I have an interesting little something to show you about using keywords in your copy that you may not be aware of. So I thought it would be easier to understand if I showed you what I was talking about rather than trying to put it in writing. So if you've got a few minutes, click around the web with me. Let's start with a Google search page. And I want to enter the key phrase virtual assistant services. Now, pay attention to what we're looking at here. Almost always you hear people saying that you have to use the key phrases as is. All the words have to be together. If you're doing keyword research and you discover that virtual assistant services, for example, is a really good key phrase to target, most people will tell you that you have to use the entire phrase virtual assistant services all together. I don't teach that way. You do need to use it sometimes together, but I also think that it's important to use the individual words within the phrase, and I'll show you that I'm finding a lot more evidence of this in Google also. So if we scroll down, look at this #1 listing. These up here in this shaded square, these are ads. Why these ads? These are paid advertisements. We're not looking at that. We want to look at the organic or the free listings, which fall down below. So this is the #1 slot, the #1 free slot. Belongs to a site called virtualmissfriday.com. And here you see virtual assistant services in the title tag, which you would expect. But if we scroll down, here's one that's in the top 10 that just has the word services in the title tag. And if we scroll down a little more, here's one that says virtual assistant, and a few words over says services. And then we have down here virtual assistant, no services. And we keep scrolling and we keep scrolling. Here's one that says virtual assistant. Here's one that doesn't say anything, virtual assistant or services. So you see we're getting different types of things. Here's virtual assistant, no services. Now you may be asking, why aren't you paying attention to the description tag? Because since early 2010, Google has stopped using the meta description tag for ranking purposes. They will still sometimes show it as the description on the search listings page, which is what this is. This page that we're looking at the search results is called the search engine results page. But they do not use what's included in the description tag for part of their ranking algorithm any longer. So let's click over to Virtual Miss Friday, and you will notice something very interesting. Now I'm using the Firefox browser, and in there you can get a feature that allows you to search the page for different words. So I'm going to type in, whoops, if I can learn how to spell, assistant services. And you see down here at the bottom, phrase not found. Nowhere on this page in text will you find the complete key phrase virtual assistant services. Now up here you see it, but this is not text. See what happens? Down here, this is text. This is not. This is a graphic. Search engines can't read graphics. They can't read photographs. They can't read images of any type. It looks like text, but it isn't. So let's see what happens if we just look for virtual assistant. And I'm going to tell it to highlight all the instances on the page. See, this isn't highlighted because it isn't text, so it can't be found in a text search. Excuse me, I just bumped the microphone. But if we scroll down, the only instance of virtual assistant is way down here at the bottom. I did notice, however, that we have VAs. That's a synonym for virtual assistant. We have virtual assistants right here. which would be stemming for the word assistant, because with stemming you get things like diet, dieting, diets, dietitian. All of those are stems of the same word. With assistant or assistant, you get assistance with an A-N-C-E. So it's a stemmed word from assistant. But isn't it strange that you're not finding any of these phrases together? How about virtual? Yep, virtual, virtual, virtual. Down here's virtual. What if we do assistant by itself? We still only get the one. Services, we get a few up here in the navigation bar. Here's one. So you see the words are there, they just aren't all together. Still with a number one ranking. Now I will tell you this, a lot of people tend to view search engine optimization in a vacuum. They will focus strictly on links. They will focus strictly on social media. They will focus strictly on copywriting. And SEO doesn't operate in a vacuum. It's always a combination of things. But it's interesting to take a look at this. Okay, my next example. Let's do HP laptop computer, singular. If I were looking for a new laptop, I would look for HP's. That's a pretty good brand. So we scroll down under the page and the first one says HP laptop computers, plural. HP, couple of words, laptop computers. HP, laptop computers, laptops, HP. HP laptop, no computers. So you see we're getting jumbled results here. Laptops, laptop computer with no HP. They're all over the place. If we go back up to this, the number one organic listing is HP's website. So we go back down to our search box. HP laptop computer, and I'm going to say highlight all. And we get one instance right here in this blue. But what if we say laptop computer? We get three. These are computers, plural, and one computer. I don't think, no, nothing else up there. You notice how, okay, hold on, let me do it the other way before I tell you that. Let's just do computer. Lots of computers. There's one up there in the headline as well. Laptop, lots of laptops. HP, lots of HPs, but not so much together. Of the actual key phrase that we were searching for, you've got one right there. And you've got these that are have laptop computers but no HP with it. But the individual words within that phrase are used all over the page. So here's what I recommend, and what I've always recommended. This is what I teach you in my step-by-step copywriting course. You need to use synonyms. If you're going to say assistant, you need to also say assistants, or use some other. VA, the virtual assistant site, also used VA, which stands for virtual assistant, because Google is putting a lot of weight on synonyms more and more. You can also use stemmed versions of your word. Stop, stopping, stops. All of those are words that are stemmed from a core root of a word, stop. So you can include those in your copy as well. Now here's what I'm thinking, and I have absolutely no proof whatsoever that this is true, but my best professional guess is that Google is really looking to find pages that have more natural copy on them, even more so than we have been pretending it is. And I think they've realized that if you were to write a page with no keyword research done before you started to create the copy, you probably wouldn't use the key phrases the way that you use them. As a matter of fact, that's a good experiment. Why don't you do that with one of your web pages? Go back and rewrite it. Don't do any keyword research. Go back and update it and just see how much you would naturally use those words, the entire phrase. I think you're going to be more likely to use the individual words within the phrase. It's trend. I've been noticing it more and more over the last year or 18 months. I don't think it's going away. I think Google is moving toward more personalized search, more natural results, and I think that's what they're looking for when they're evaluating the text on the page. So don't just go for straight key phrases. Break it up a little bit, use the individual words within the phrase, and I bet you'll see a good bump in your rankings. This is Karen Thaxton with marketingwords.com and copywritingcourse.com. Here's to your success.